Hi, everybody. Welcome to episode 13 of the Year of Love podcast. I'm your host, Alison Wu, and I'm so thrilled to have the author and just a brand new thinker in this space join us on the show. Laurie LaMantia is the author of Effortless Wealth, and she joins us to share her insights on how we can all have a little bit of effortless wealth. Laurie, welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you, Alison. It's wonderful to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Well, let's start at the very beginning. What does effortless wealth mean to you?
Thank you. Well, I'll start a little bit even farther back from the beginning in that I was sitting at my desk doing my taxes. I was feeling very scarcity. I was at a point where I couldn't afford to do a lot of things. I was like, this is ridiculous. I don't want to continue on thinking this way. And so I put myself on a journey, understanding what what is money, and it really started with money, not the word wealth. It was like, I want more money, I don't have enough money, when am I going to get more, that whole litany you put yourself through. And when I put myself on this journey of wealth and understanding money and prosperity and abundance, like a whole world opened up around redefining, rethinking, realigning to a whole different definition and thought around wealth and money and abundance. And so the book Effortless Wealth was really kind of a culmination of that research. I did a Making Peace with Money podcast. I did a lot of learning about the journey. And so where I am now with the concept of effortless wealth is that it's wealth is everywhere. It is a part of us. It is who we are. It is what we were born from. It is what we are born as a part of, and it's where we will always be. It's almost like I almost feel like it's a birthright. It's a thing that we're so like it's something that you're supposed to grab outside of you when it's really just the natural essence of who you are, and it's effortless. That experience of just slowing down enough to feel it, notice it, allow it, makes it just be effortless because it's always available. So that's my new definition of effortless wealth. It's very different than what I think a traditional, especially if you watch CNBC or a lot of the, the TV things about investing and all that. I would really love for us to redefine investing too as a thing that we are investing our energy, not our money. Invest your energy and wealth consciousness first, then invest your money.
So it sounds like before you even start thinking about counting up what you have or what you feel like you don't have, it's really this effortless wealth is really a mindset shift and a paradigm shift about tying into, first of all, abundance versus scarcity.
Yes, absolutely. And it's almost bigger than that, because I think this is where people get lost too. They think I just got to think rich. I just got to think, think and grow rich, like Napoleon Hill said. No, it's not just think and grow rich. It's expand your definition of wealth and let that truth radiate out of you. You are a wealthy being. You are a part of an unlimited wealth capability, and you could create and direct and manage that wealth in whatever way you want. So yes, it is. It's a big shift in looking at it like I'm waiting for it to show up, or I've got to do something differently, to radiating a wealth consciousness and an abundance. And I've been thinking about your year of love. It to me, wealth feels like love when you tap into the true definition of love, which is it's expansive, and your heart just opens up and it's just pouring forth of appreciation and gratitude. That's like the shift of wealth that I feel like we're talking about.
So let's think about this. So it's fascinating to hear that really the book, right, is a culmination of your journey. Let's talk to those people who may be listening now who are like, okay, I want to begin. And you talk about this feeling. What's the best way, or what can you recommend as the starting point from where people may be now to getting to that feeling place, which you talked about as kind of like that initial step, first step?
Right. And it's funny. I this comes back to me every single time. We think wealth is a doing. So what do I got to do? And we're human beings. And so when you look at yourself like a human being, it really is it's a practice. If I were to start with the first thing, I would practice appreciating all the wealth that is around me. I would practice noticing the wealth that is showing up. And wealth isn't, I want to expand that definition of wealth too, to be like, I'm watching a squirrel right now just eat an insane amount of sunflowers. I mean, that's a layer of wealth that we don't necessarily register from a worldly perspective. But as you start to notice all the wealth that's showing up in our lives, we have this ability to talk. We're not even close. There's so many things we take for granted, beautiful friendships, our time together. So and I know it sounds simplistic, but it really is simple. Wealth is learning to teach yourself how to be in that wealth place. And the more you feel that way and operate that way, the more life just starts to come to you in whole different ways. So it's really simple. And if people want to, of course, there's tons of great books out there. I think Think and Grow Rich is amazing. I think there's the Abraham Hicks books on abundance. I mean, there's so many. I mean, just watch YouTube, but watch YouTube very mindfully to select things that people are talking, not, I love watching the investing things, but if you invest from scarcity, that energy of scarcity, you're going to attract more scarcity. I mean, it is a radiation and return on radiation, investment, return on investment kind of experience. Does that answer your
There's
question?
been a lot. Yeah, no, absolutely. There's been a lot recently, right? About making sure that you're putting your money where your values are, right? So this idea of invest in the things you believe in, whether it's renewables, whether it's in women-owned businesses, whether it's in microfinancing for developing countries, right? So that people can really get, a leg up. It's really about kind of taking investing not only from a place of I want to make X amount of return, right? But I'm also putting a portion of my money towards the things I actually believe in. What were some of the things in your journey that were kind of like those aha moments? Certainly, you've talked about the feeling and the slowing down. Were there other things that also helped you? And I'm curious if you maybe other things that others could also maybe potentially adapt.
Well, so I appreciate what you're asking. You're asking, well, how do I take that, idea and make it a reality? And I do think investing in things that speak to you is really important. And I think having discernment and understanding of what matters to you and invest and put it's like focus. You're focusing this way on something that you are going to get an energetic return from, in that you appreciate what they're doing and you want to support them, whatever, women-owned business, whatever you choose. And I think that in that thoughtfulness translated into a heartfelt action is a very powerful approach to looking at yourself as an investor. And I want to reiterate, I do think looking at ourselves like investors with every minute that we spend, what you put in your mouth to eat, what you decide to speak out your mouth, you are investing. And creating a whole energy bubble around you. And I don't think most people understand that energy bubble that they're creating with that around them. And if I were to pick the aha, it's that I think a lot of people think I can think one thing and do something else, and it'll all kind of somebody will figure it out. No, it's you are the one who's figuring out, and that energy bubble you're creating around you is doing it's sending out ripples and it's bringing back ripples. And I don't mean to make people feel uncomfortable, for sure. It's just a layer of awareness that I think we try and skirt, and this is an integrity moment, globally together. we're in an integrity moment. And, and I think wealth, I think wealth is an integrity moment too. If you sit down and you feel uncomfortable, that uncomfortableness, just notice, because there's your truth. And now what are you going to do with your truth? That's a every step of the way on the wealth journey. And we all are on a journey, right? I know everybody wants to be Jeff Bezos or whatever, but well, I don't know. I don't know that everybody does. The assumption is, oh, I want all that. But getting clear about what's important to you and that integrity moment, and then investing that way. So I didn't realize that I was having that kind of creative power effect on my life.
You talk about the bubble, right? So can we talk about the idea that there's that old adage that your wealth is probably the sum of the 5 people you are closest to? Can we just talk about like what happens about like attracts like? Because a lot of people learn money habits, whether it's fear-based or even very positively, from their family. And right, then you come from different generation gaps, right? My parents came from World War II. Their parents came from the Depression. So you can feel that sometimes that scarcity mentality because they bring that consciousness, though some people have been able to break free of that. Can you talk a little bit about like those learned behaviors of money from families and from generations, and like what's the opportunity to reset that potentially? Because I'm curious if you've had experiences even with your own family, just kind of resetting the bar on as you've been on your journey. How have they been impacted by it?
Perfect question. I do, and I've been doing a lot of work around that. It's almost like it's in your DNA, right? Your ancestral experience is in your DNA, physiologically and emotionally. And so, yeah, all that is packed in us. And so, and that's, I think, one of the reasons why wealthing is such a journey, because we're kind of peeling off the stuff that we learned. And part of what we do is we honor, we honor our family, we honor our lineage. It's one of the beautiful things we do as humans, but it's also one of the probably most detrimental things we do as humans, in that it keeps us in that little box. And breaking out of that box can be very uncomfortable, but incredibly powerful. And it's the greatest gift we're going to give to our lineage, is making that energy, that new abundance, prosperity, wealth, consciousness available to that and to our lineage and our future. So, and I taught entrepreneurship at DePaul in the business school. And we used to talk about this all the time, that the kids there are doing what their parents taught them to do. And if they're good habits, awesome. A lot of times, yeah. And anything that was yesterday and before is old. It's old. Even today is old. Where we've got to be is today and going forward. And again, investing in, let me take what works. Look at what your parents did, look at what your family did, take it what you works. Because my family's got an entrepreneurship background. We're all business people. I own a business right now. I mean, I've taken that what's worked, but I want to create that next level of a business that's from abundance, from collaboration, from prosperity, from shared co-creation. That was the entrepreneurship, work hard, struggle, old paradigm. What can I contribute to the next round is that. So you're absolutely right. Looking at it with discernment and even writing it out. This is what they did and what I don't want. And now this is what I want. Flip it over. Super simple. Once you see it written, you're going to be like, yeah, I want that. I don't want that. And focus on what you want. It's creating 101, and it's still as powerful today as it ever was, right?
Well, it's funny, right? Because you talk about all the things that have transcended with the generations that still work. So you think about in farming, in agricultural times, right? When there was a lot, guess what? They had grain silos and you stored it for the winter when there was not. So not unlike saving your money when you have a lot, right? When you have extra, or ensuring that you put away saving first before you spend so that you'll always have. I mean, these are kind of some of the adages that may seem boring, but they work, and they are the tried and true types of things. So you talk about, in addition to changing your mindset and the idea of lack moving one of abundance, there's also the basics that you still have to do, right? Even whether it's budgeting and knowing how much you have versus spending more than you have. I mean, so I think the key is, I think a lot of people, and probably a lot of listeners to this podcast who may have, read The Secret and then became somewhat disenchanted, it's not really one or the other. You've got to shift the spiritual notion, the energetic notion, the emotional piece, the mental, but physically, you also have to do all the right things. Like, it's not going to just materialize just by
Totally.
wishing.
And that's why I keep coming back to this investor notion, and that, when you put that money away for a rainy day, that's an investment in your future. And looking at it, like, I'm doing it very conscientiously, and I'm doing it very thoughtfully, not I got to do this because Allison told me to, you know. Uh, I mean, that is basic care, caring for our family, caring for ourselves. 101 is, yeah, you don't spend what you don't have. You learn how to manage your money. You learn how to manage your demands and your desires to the reality of your situation. Those are all the ways we honor ourselves. And the key is the mindset, right? I'm putting it in. I don't spend money because I just like to see my bank account grow. It's so fun, right? How fun is that? And then all of a sudden you start saying, I could if I wanted to. I could buy that if I wanted to. That little shift in, I could if I wanted to, but right now I'm choosing not to for whatever reason. It's an empowerment shift. And you're absolutely right. Do take care of yourself. There's a lot of great money management books out there. Um, and nothing's jumping out at me because I've read so many different ones, but there's, the basics are out there. Absolutely. And I know the basics of this energy investing stuff is out there. I think putting it together, like you're talking about, where, The Secret just was like, oh, I hope someday, it's not that. You are the power creator. People are just forgetting that they think it's something out there, and I'm trying to do something to make it give me the $1 million. And it's like, you're the generator. We're all the individual generators. And as we find, and by the way, just as a FYI in the background, there's been so much money that's been dropped into this world in the last 3 years. Unbelievable. This is prosperity consciousness making it happen, because I've been doing this for 40 years or 20 years or whatever it is. And it was like, yeah, yeah, yeah. The amount of money and prosperity and wealth that had just dropped in the last 10 years is, we've never seen it before. So it's working. And I know people are like, well, where's mine? It is available. It's there. And the way we create it is these steps, these investment steps, putting money away, thinking it through, being respectful of yourself, becoming aware of how you're managing your mind, your energy, and of course your money, because money is energy. I had a beautiful woman on, and we talked on our podcast. Money is love. Every time you hand $1 to somebody, every time you swipe your credit card, you're loving on them. Whenever somebody sends you money, they're loving on you. I mean, money is just an energy exchange, and like everything. And so love on your money. We used to write, I love money, money loves me. I love money, money loves me. Just some basic stuff. When I was in my class, I had them hold $1 bill or a $20 bill. You'd be surprised how, that was another pivotal moment. I looked at that money, just the idea of tearing it was so stressful, or doing something damaging to it. If you sat with a $20 bill and let it speak to you, and you speak to it, you'd be surprised what you hear. Those are the
What
little
would you
things.
hear? Well, what did you hear? What did others hear?
Well, I heard that this is a very precious thing and there's not a lot of it. When I went to tear it, I actually burned it, and I felt so guilty. I felt like I was breaking a serious cosmic law. I don't know what it was. It was like, you're being disrespectful. You're being and I saw the power that it had over me. And I realized my relationship with money was way off. I realized that it was managing me and I wasn't managing it. It had the power and I was its bitch, and I, sorry. And I didn't like that. I'm like, no. And so I'm going to teach myself money. And I taught myself money. And, it's been a journey, but I get it. I get money. I understand how to invest it. Understand how to use it. I understand how to not let it manage me. And I feel so much more empowered because of that.
And question to you, so where are you now on your money journey? So you told us where you started, right? Where you felt like you were in lack. Tell us where you are now.
I feel very abundant, and let me be really generous or genuine with this. I do have my money moments. In fact, I was just getting my honest truth is yesterday I've been having a root canal and I love getting it because I go under the gas and I go up and I create $1 billion and for the last I've had 5 sessions and I've been loving it because I love going into that place of unlimited. So I'm still creating more, everybody's creating more, but my current reality is I feel very abundant. We have plenty. We are we have a business that's doing very well. And we live simply. I don't live in a McMansion, not that you can't. Our big abundance is watching the birds eat a ton of and I can buy as much bird seed as I want. So my money reality is I feel the power. I feel empowered. I do. So that's where I'm at. I don't feel in that place of lack like I used to. And for me, that contentment, that peace, oddly enough, is exactly where the wealth just, how they say, um, just vibrate and it becomes it. I remember Wayne Dyer saying, he's like, I have so much money, I don't know what to do with. I think you cross over and then it just is it's always flowing. And where you want to be before you get crossed over is how do I get there without, having the money? And I hope this is making sense. From scarcity, you see yourself on the wealthy journey, you cross over, and then it just doesn't end.
I think it's this notion that everybody thinks that seeing is believing, but the
Right.
truth is believing is seeing.
Truly.
And once you believe it first, it will manifest instead of waiting for it to happen. And then you think, well, now I feel wealthy because now I see the numbers. You have to feel wealthy within and appreciative of all you have and all that is before you start to see it expand in your life.
Right. And you've taught me
I
that
mean, there's
in
so many,
spades.
well, we've had these conversations for quite some times in terms
Yeah.
of how to create and how to unlock that unlimited creativity we all have. But so many topics to have you back. We definitely have to have you back again. But I'm curious about how you feel about the evolution of where money is going and this idea of different currencies, whether it's Bitcoin or crypto or the Dogecoin. What's your feeling about it? What do you think about all of it?
Hmm. Well, I love the concept. I love the concept of again, crypto, Bitcoin has created an abundance mentality and it's made money available to people who didn't think they could ever have money. I think what it's doing for the collective consciousness energetically is giant. I think it's opening up people's prosperity consciousness. I mean, even though, and I don't know where it's going to go. I think it's doing tremendous great things for our collective prosperity consciousness. And from that perspective, I think it's very valuable because as it takes money out of the box and makes it way more generally available. I think people start to settle down and feel more comfortable and confident. So I personally think it's a good thing. And will it always be a good thing? I don't know. But what it does for us now, I really love. I love
Mm.
that kids are playing with it and they go into the metaverse and they feel rich. And that's what we're talking about, right? So however you get there, do it.
Yeah.
Really.
And what a good time to really kids kind of, if they start with this unlimited consciousness, right, and that abundant mindset, it's amazing to see where it
Right.
will go. Well,
Whatever we're
certainly, I know
talking
you
about.
have. Exactly. I mean, you've talked about so many other people's books, but honestly, Effortless Wealth is a phenomenal read. Definitely something that people should get a hold of. Laurie, where can people get a copy of the book, and how do people get in contact with you? Because you're also a speaker and you teach classes on this. So tell us how people can get in touch.
Thank you. Well, you can get Effortless Wealth on Amazon, but you can also go to my website, theabundancecenter.com. You can buy it on Lulu. You just type in Effortless Wealth and you can find it. But yes, you can contact me on my website, theabundancecenter.com. Thank you for asking, by the way.
Of course, of course. Well,
Yeah,
you're
appreciate
always, you are you are
it.
a center of abundance, of wealth, of knowledge, and all good
Thank you.
things. Love to have you back again, because I think there are just so many different topics. This is one of those core things, that people sometimes fret about, sometimes love about. I mean, you talked about this crossover moment. I think it's very true. I can honestly say, even from my own background, right? My dad was very much, came from World War II, and was always about like, you don't have enough. And, very much from that lack place. Yet he was an amazing creator and created a lot of wealth with his restaurants and different things. But I can still hear his voice in my head. And I've had to do a lot of work also just to kind of really come from a totally different place with, working with money, attracting it, feeling very comfortable with it. So it's definitely a journey, but
It is. And I will say our generation and the generations before, I think had it a little bit more difficult than the future generations because of the crypto and because of the abundance that they were raised with. So but to be honest, everybody's got their thing, and that's where you mind your you manage your mind. Yeah. So, and I've loved watching you. I mean, you're like the pinnacle of abundance to me. So, and love, love, how to embody abundance. How do we embody abundance? How do we embody wealth and let that radiate out instead of, here, I got the money, which of course, love, 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 but it comes from, I got the money, I'm having so much fun. And fun begets more wealth, and it just rolls.
yes, that's a great feeling. So remember that, everybody, as you work on your taxes this weekend, just remember that there is another way. There is a way
Put
of
some
love.
music on. Put on, I got some money. I got money, money. If you're gonna do your abundant, you're gonna do your taxes, put fun music on, eat a good meal, drink your coffee or whatever, and enjoy the process. You've got money to be able to even do taxes, or you've got the ability to do a tax return. There's so much stuff we take, we just throw to the back and say, I hate doing this, instead of enjoy it. The fun, enjoyment. Next year, you never know. You might be paying a lot of money in taxes because you made so much money. It's okay.
Great point. Laurie LaMantia, author of Effortless Wealth, thank you so much for joining us, and keep on inspiring us.
Thank you, Alison. Nice to talk with you. This was a fun thing. Appreciate it. Love you.